Howdy, Banger Pals. Blaine Smith welcoming you to another Overkill Reviews, Banger's weekly metal review show. So the two records you guys were claiming for us to talk about this month were Dark Throne and Panopticon. Dark Throne, I don't know, I feel like you could kind of just copy and paste my last Dark Throne review.
Dark Throne continues to be a band that does whatever they want, whenever they want, and it always turns out fine.
But I got some stuff to say about Panopticon. Yes, by popular demand, I'm talking about the new Panopticon record called I Have No Gosh Darn Idea. Came out May 8th on Nordvis Production. Since 2007, one-man black metal musician Austin Lunn has been cranking out albums as Panopticon. While many others have been content just sounding like Europe, Austin has been at the forefront of carving out a true American sound for black metal by integrating folk from this side of the pond's history. As such, I used to be able to count on him releasing albums I could pronounce, but fuck me, I guess. Does this Norwegian title mean he's abandoning what made him great and doing some Norse nonsense? Let's find out. Atmospheric black metal double album with folk elements sporting an hour and 6 minute runtime. You'd certainly be reasonable to assume that you were gonna be able to press play, but have time to make a cuppa settle in like the bear on the Celestial Seasoning Sleepy Time tea box and relax before any gosh darn music started. Celestial Seasoning isn't a bad title for the album either. Well, you would have lost that bet on Kalshi, and it's insane that we live in a world where that could have been a bet. After a mere 30 seconds of what I guess could be called forest rummaging, we get some spectacular sounding atmospheric black metal. Yay! I've been listening to stuff from this guy for 15 years, and it only took the record a minute to exceed my expectations. That might sound like I have a very low bar set for Austin, but obviously, no, that's not the case. The first song alone lives up to and advances a formidable legacy in American black metal. Austin and his guest string performer come together to create one of those perfect sounds for atmospheric metal that's hard to define, but just sounds good. And what was already a fantastic song has its 12-minute runtime absolutely justified by its late shift to full black metal energy while maintaining the sound of the track. It makes sense and flows and give you a nice boost of energy to trampoline into the 51 more minutes of album that's coming. Holy jeezer. There's a whole lot going on this record, and a big reason that it is so varied throughout is that it doesn't stick to exclusively sounds you normally hear in black metal. That will be no surprise to anyone who's familiar with Panopticon, but certainly worth noting, as I am a massive Panopticon fan, but the black metal you normally get recommended by me is a little more on the side. And this is even a further departure from what Austin normally does too. This does mean that a lot of this album is on the brighter side, a thing I normally do not enjoy. So why is that mentioned in a positive section? Well, first off, it's not the entire record like it usually is with bright tone and black metal, so that helps. But I mainly think it's because Austin is an actual black metal musician with a very strong history of making stuff that sounds like black metal. As a result, he's more effectively able to play with these things as he has a firm grasp on what is the correct black metal sound and how to distort and shift it. It also makes sense thematically, as the album is about an old hermit in the last week of his life, so he's having memories of a life lived, both good and bad. So there are darker songs like The White Cedars or A Culture of Wilderness that come in the middle of the album, and somber ones like The Woodland Caribou that I talked about off the top. Let's have a little dip in with the darker side, though, just for me. I harp on about length a lot. Maybe it's because I'm a ADHD-riddled maniac who usually has 3 things going on at a time when I do anything. Monitor, cell phone, dogs, wife. It's chaotic. I think it's really hard to get me to care about an album for more than 40 minutes, but you can do it, and there are 2 usual ways. Be really slow so it relaxes and brings me down, or
actually have enough interesting stuff going on to warrant a runtime encroaching on film territory.
anything north of 40 minutes isn't no longer considered a short film. You gotta have a plot. I figured the album would start to ease off in the back 9, get a little more ambient, atmospheric, but that is not the case. There is one interlude. It's the second last song, and it's 1 minute and 43 seconds. Outside of that, it is full, proper, wall-to-wall music, except for the aforementioned, a little bit of forest rummaging. And there are a lot of different sounds. Austin employs a different guest vocalist on each track, which is actually less noticeable than I thought it would be, because there is so much happening all the time that it's hard to notice one change when everything around you is constantly shifting. I don't know if you could notice a staircase moving in a MC Escher house. New instruments, new styles. There's a lot going on with just the light to dark songs, as I said before, and that's before you even get to the different ways strings are presented from song to songs. While nothing sounds out of place, each song does sound like a completely different song. There is very little crossover between tracks, so it's a lot different than 51 minutes of just death or thrash or something. Meaning, I for once will not be bringing out the scissors in a review to do some trimming. Holster old Edward Scissorhands. As absolutely insane as it is for a record where I'm stressing that there is this much going on, the entire last section is doing a salute to the drums, but a big part of the reason that this album is so easy to enjoy with a runtime like this is the constant source of energy that is the drumming. As an actual black metal musician, which I will stress again, Austin isn't afraid to put blast beats all over the place. I think Frank described the flow of drums on each track pretty well.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang, bang, bang. Try to shoot him in the back.
There's absolutely blasting on most of the record, but it's not just blast beats. An hour of that can get quite fatiguing. So of equal import is what he chooses to do in between these. The running and the shooting in the back, if you will. Even when a song is as slow as Closer, Ghost, Eyes in the Firelight, the drums still feel like they're driving the song, doing just a bit more than the average drummer in that similar song would be doing in a different act. What I think is the best example is how the beginning of Blood and Fur Upon the Melting Snow just leaps out at you with an incredible drum beat that steals my focus from everything else going on. And as I have stressed 12 times in this review, there is a lot of other things going on. Hot dang, we found a black metal album with some bright tone that Blaine loves. Well, not exactly. I think this is an amazingly crafted album. I enjoy it a ton. I will listen to it again. It's a great entry to his very storied discography. The sounds I like less, but they make sense in the context of the album and they are executed well and for a good reason. So I'm not trying to change them. Would I take that sound over like None, Damn Chill of Life, or some of Austin's earlier works? Absolutely not. But as a detour on an amazing album, yeah, this grumpy old hermit that's hopefully not in his last week of life can get on board with that. Giving it 4.5 out of 5 the deer skulls we found in our forest rummaging. I know this review is a little late, but that's because there's always so much to cover. It can be hard to slot everything in, but thankfully we have a Patreon campaign where you can let us know what records we should be covering, and you were letting us know you really wanted us to talk about Panopticon. So here I am, thanks to you, both in that respect and also in the grand scheme of things, because you toss us a couple bucks on Patreon, we toss you some extra content, tip sheets, bonus features, all that kind of stuff. And then I get to keep doing this, and we don't have to have ads here. We just get to say thank you. But before we go, as always, I have shout-outs for you. I got 2 black metal records and then a record that's just really good. Desiccation, Legatum Mortuorum on Carbonized Records came out May 15th. That's definitely some black metal, I think, if you're a fan of Panopticon, you might like. If you just want some weird black metal, Junon, the Golden Citadel of the Astral Sphere on Voidhanger Records, also came out May 15th. And then, just because they're too good to not get at least a mention this month, Witching Hour Descending, Where Time Has Ceased to Exist on Dying Victims Productions, comes out today, May 22nd. So please grab those records. And what'd you think of the new Panopticon record? I'm guessing you loved it because everybody loved it because it's an amazing record, and that tends to be the way things go when Austin releases a record. But even by Austin standards, like I said, this is a pretty spectacular achievement. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought. And as always, I'll see you soon.